Let me explain something about the dude.
Oh, look, Jeffrey, I don't want a partner. In fact, I don't want the father to be someone I have to see socially.
When the word relationship is used, it is most often thought of in the romantic sort of ideal. That connection between people whose lives are entwined by a physical aspect that is spurred into a romantic life together. More often than those rare couplings, relationships are just connections between people. And all relationships, whether personal, professional, or family, need work. But what happens when those lines blur? And more importantly, what happens when one of those relationships ends? Before we get too far, make sure you're subscribed so you can stay up to date on all our latest videos. Hailing from a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Joel Coen was born in 1954, with Ethan following in 57. The sons of an economist professor and art historian, the two had a fairly typical upper-middle-class childhood, with movies as a strong backbone, resulting in the two shooting their own Super 8 movies. The two separated for higher learning when Joel met Sam Raimi, a fellow filmmaker who would become a significant collaborator and friend. That friendship would prove invaluable when the brothers got together and decided to make their first movie, Blood Simple. In order to raise the money, the brothers took Raimi's advice and shot a fake trailer, leaning heavily on the more exciting or blood-pulsing moments of the hypothetical film to show investors. Blood Simple marked the beginning of their distinctive style, characterized by dark humor, complex characters, and meticulous craftsmanship. The brothers wrote, directed, and produced the film, showcasing their want to be in charge of every aspect of their film by making it like a DIY punk band, a movie where their fingerprints could be seen in every single frame. It also showed the wide breadth of their influences, the title itself being a quote from pulp master Dashiell Hammett's The Red Harvest, meaning someone who has gone mad with violence. Then there's the burial scene, which is one of the most horrifying scenes the Coens have put to film. The success of Blood Simple cemented the two as up-and-comers, but their follow-up, Raising Arizona, would announce they could not necessarily be categorized either. Raising Arizona was a delicate balancing act between madcap, romance, and the surreal. A stark contrast to the gritty realism of Blood Simple, the movie followed an infertile small-time crook who kidnaps a baby in order to start a family with the cop who arrested him, which is kinda sweet, at least for the Coens, especially in a movie with a biker bounty hunter who may or may not be from hell. The Coens would step back into a more straight-laced neo-noir crime thriller with Miller's Crossing. The story is about a criminal caught between loyalty and self-preservation as he bobs and weaves through deceit, double crosses, and moral ambiguity, where they perfected their dialogue with double meanings and purposeful delivery.
Anyone sees you, you really are dead. I don't care, you're not my problem anymore.
Of course not. Of course not. You've done your share. Thank you, don't worry.
Shut up.
In the brothers' next film, they would yo-yo back to the surreal with Barton Fink. The story was a Kafka-esque examination of creation and the environment in which art is created. Also, your neighbor could be Satan, or an angel of death, or maybe just the manifestation of your own range and capacity for violence. It is a wild ride of a film that really showed how far the Coen brothers could stretch. The two would take what they learned in Raising Arizona and Barton Fink and apply it to their madcap and surreal films, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?, Intolerable Cruelty, The Hudsucker Proxy, The Big Lebowski, Lady Killers, Hail Caesar, Burn After Reading, and The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. All of these movies wore their laughing heart on their sleeve. They reveled in that old Hollywood feel of zany and joy. Those feelings were often contrasted with dark material like Klan meetings or Severed Digits. That subversion is exactly what makes an actor like George Clooney such a great returning player for the Coens. There's that classic film jawline coupled with a wonderful sense of comic timing, and a complete absence of fear. Just like their first 4 films, their output continued to surprise critics and audiences with films like Fargo, The Man Who Wasn't There, No Country for Old Men, Inside Llewyn Davis, True Grit, and A Serious Man. While most of these films are crime-based, there are outliers like A Serious Man or Inside Llewyn Davis, which focused more on coming-of-age moments. While a lot of coming-of-age dramas are based on teens becoming adults, there's also adults grappling with their faith or their own relationship to the world at large. These films are deeply personal and frankly beautiful in their own desperate attempt to connect and raise questions with their audience. In those crime films, though, we also saw those same questions being lobbed at criminals. All the characters in a Coen Brothers film are treated with the same kindness, be them heroes or villains. That might not be a statement you can make of the Coen Brothers' solo efforts in film, a decision that, according to longtime composer Carter Burwell,
this is first time Joel's directing on its own. Ethan just didn't want to make movies anymore.
So Joel decided to make the tragedy of Macbeth on his own. And for the most part, it's the better of the so far 2 released feature films, albeit the lesser at general Coen feelings. And the film is absolutely stunning. Joel is clearly going for a more studio house set-centric shooting, for the most part avoiding on-location shooting. The movie is shot in an odd aspect ratio that gives the film a sense of scope that appears to want to invoke the feeling of a stage play. It's a technical marvel acted wonderfully, which is kind of faint praise for a Coen Brothers film. There is an absence of heart and warmth that we saw in movies like Inside Llewyn Davis or Intolerable Cruelty. While it's a lovely match, something about it just feels cold. And a lot of that might just be that the film is an adaptation. The Coens had adapted before though, famously turning the Odyssey into a Southern Gothic fairy tale, or putting a nigh unfilmable Cormac McCarthy novel to screen. But in each of those cases, there was something unique. A spin on a classic, or just the way your main character can change in the last third of a story. The tragedy of Macbeth is really just Macbeth, a masterfully done one, but no different than the Shakespeare adaptations of someone like Kenneth Branagh. In Ethan's case, he directed and co-wrote Drive Away Dolls with his wife and film editor Trisha Cook, and it's the polar opposite of Joel's effort. Full of heart and warmth the creators clearly have for its main leads, but there's a failure in bringing that warmth to the audience in a film that feels more paint by numbers than subversive. The screenplay feels more akin to a film student who just really loves the Coen brothers, but has yet to develop their own style or taste. That could be attributed to the niche genre Drive Away Dolls is homaging, one that censors found so offensive the 2 were forced to change the title. But the films it wants to emulate, such as Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, But I'm a Cheerleader, or Bad Girls Go to Hell, were made on a much smaller scale with lesser stakes than famous Oscar winner Makes a B-Movie. Knowing how much Ethan and Trisha love this style of 90s B-movie films is affirming, and also instills a sense of hope that the next 2 of their proposed trilogy will still hit a little harder. They just have to let the audience know why we should love these characters as much as you do, which is something the Coen brothers excelled at when they worked together. H.I. McDonough was not a great person. We meet him as a criminal who then commits more crimes to make his partner happy, but there was a sincerity in both Cage's performance and how the Coens treated H.I. Before Drive Away Dolls, when Joel was working on the tragedy of Macbeth, Ethan was working on a play called A Play is a Poem. Ethan told the LA Times just before its debut, "I feel totally comfortable with movies. My brother and I have been making movies since we were kids, but working on movies is such a piecemeal technical thing. This is the exact opposite of that. This is a fluid, fragile thing where everything affects the next thing." That quote carries a touch more meta wording than Ethan might have considered. Everything in the creative process is delicate. Any shift in habit or process absolutely has the capacity to alter not just the shape of the project, but its end result as well. And it's clear since their separation, the shape and results lack a feeling we all knew before. We asked in the introduction what happens when a relationship ends. Well, in the case of most siblings, and specifically the Coen brothers, that relationship has not ended. The 2 are said to be writing a new script, and it's often rumored the 2 have dozens of unproduced screenplays. For a very large audience, the films of the Coens represented outcasts and misfits, people with a dark sense of humor who felt a little off for laughing at something so morbid or gory. But their success showed that so many people felt the same as these 2 brothers from the Midwest, that ideas about introspection or morality were questions worth asking. Those questions can make people feel like they are one long gloomy note, but the fact that joy and silliness exists in the Coens as well reminds us that nobody is one set feeling, that people can enjoy watching a rug theft as much as watching a man passing an exit sign. Hopefully, whether together or apart, they will keep using their stories to remind the world that both bear the same weight. So what do you think? Who are some other filmmaking duos you want to see return? Let us know down in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.